Welcome, everybody. Let's go ahead and start. This presentation is on next level document management. We're going to be looking at techniques and an approach to managing documents in SharePoint in a way that's going to be more effective than what you have with out-of-the-box SharePoint. So we'll go ahead and jump in. So just some quick intros and ground rules. I'm Will Cooper. I'm the training coordinator for Infowise. I'm also a SharePoint developer, and I build lots and lots of different kinds of SharePoint solutions for different companies. So this is what I eat and breathe every day. In the past, I was a customer of Infowise. I came across their tools, and I use these tools in all the different kinds of solutions that I build. Just to tell you a little bit about Infowise, our emphasis is on making things easy. We have a whole set of tools focused especially on easy customized form setup, and then many additional features that have to do with functionality, reporting, those types of things. We're always improving our product. We're perpetually releasing new features and improvements, and that's one of my favorite parts about working with these tools. Sorry, let me got to go to my next slide. There we go. Okay, so this is a comprehensive tool set. It deploys completely inside of SharePoint. You can use these tools whether you're in SharePoint Online or on-premise SharePoint. We are going to give away a embroidered Infowise shirt towards the end, so if you stick around, we'll do a drawing for that. That is limited to folks living in the United States only. That's just for shipping reasons. As far as interaction during the meeting, please use the questions interface and go to webinar. We do want your feedback. We do want your questions. We will do our best to answer those. If we don't answer right away, please be patient. We'll get to that. We'll stay on the meeting, so stick around for that. But use the questions interface to interact with us during the presentation, please. All right, so let's get to the focus of what we're talking about today, which is advanced document management. I wanted to define our mission before I actually dive in and show you what we're building and what this tool is. So this is just describing some key high-level features that we expect and users expect out of a document management system in SharePoint. Naturally, we want this to be self-service. We want our users to be able to access the tools, manage documents on their own, find documents, etc. Be able to do this all themselves with minimal training or anything that you have to understand, through an intuitive interface. We want this to be streamlined. We want this to be as visual as possible, especially what we would like to avoid is kind of buried menu options or features that are maybe not so intuitive to all users. We'll make it nice and simple to use those features. We want to have some email notifications based on document updates, things of that nature. Naturally, we want easy searching, sorting, filtering, and something in an interface that is clean and easy to understand for users. We want to have some tracking in this. We want to be able to know when documents are getting updated, things like that. And we'd like to be able to tag those documents to help better facilitate searching and that type of thing. And then obviously we want to have some dashboards around all of this. So these are some basic key features that we're expecting to have in this type of solution. So just to talk a little bit about setting up your own system, because when you use this, even though we're going to provide this full solution to you for free after our presentation, you'll certainly want to customize and adjust some of your screens and dashboards. So my recommendations on this, first off, is to get something up and running quickly. So start with a core system that satisfies all your key requirements, and then you can build out additional features and functionality once that's up and running. So try not to get caught up in too many requirements coming right out of the gate. We want to have basic layouts, simple to understand, big buttons, that kind of thing. We want to avoid a lot of clutter, trying to jam too much information on one screen. That kind of goes hand in hand with this comment, keep things bite-sized. We want to test out these features and functions early and often as we set it up. And then as we're testing, what we should do is add in some dummy documents to test out the layout and that type of thing. All right, so this is my visual representation of how I kind of think of SharePoint. There's a lot of opportunity in SharePoint, but out of the box is a bit too limited. We can't really do all the things that we need to do. And so that's really, for me, what Ultimate Forms brings to the table. It really fills in all those gaps. It adds a whole bunch more key features and functionality. And so you're going to be much better equipped to do everything that you want to do in SharePoint instead of having to compromise and just have to take what's given to you in the out-of-the-box interface. So this is truly how I think about these tools. As I mentioned previously, you can do all of the things I've been demonstrating, whether you're using SharePoint Online or on-premise. The tools work much the same way in both environments. In terms of the build process, it's iterative. What's nice is you don't have to be a developer. Everything I'm going to show you can be done through simple configuration, rules, drop-down menus, checkboxes, things like that. So you make a few adjustments, save those changes, go to your dashboard, test the functionality, make sure your updates worked, and then add in your next feature. So you kind of go through this process repeatedly. So we're going to get out of this boring PowerPoint deck and go right into SharePoint because that's really what we want to look at today. All right, so I'm in SharePoint Online, and this is just a regular plain SharePoint team site, the one that most of us use in SharePoint Online, and I've just got a basic SharePoint dashboard here. And I'm going to walk you through, first of all, from a user perspective, all the features and tools. So we're going to see how this whole system works, and then after I've demonstrated all these features and tools and functionality, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how this is set up and configured with some of the Ultimate Forms tools and abilities that I referenced. So we'll just kind of start with the most obvious thing. I'm going to upload some documents. And as I'm going through these screens, you're going to notice some differences from what you would otherwise see in SharePoint. So keep your eyes peeled and notice some of the features and functions that you're going to see that aren't normally what you would see in SharePoint. It kind of goes above and beyond. Okay, so I'm going to just batch load, which of course is a nice feature. I'm going to get 4 documents. I'm going to just load them up here, and we're just going to begin with that. You can tell right away this doesn't look like what SharePoint normally gives you. We've added some features here. Got to give it a few seconds to load. It's doing some things in the background. Notice I added a field in here called owner. This is a way to tag the person who's basically taking responsibility for updates on the document. Another thing that we've got in here is a thumbnail preview. And this is something that's happening inside of SharePoint automatically, and it's something we can tap into. So we added a column for that. Gives me a nice, easy way to kind of see what the first page of that document looks like, kind of make sure I'm picking the right thing. And then I've also got this button, which should be totally brand new and foreign to you, which just has a little pencil icon that says info. So this is a shortcut, if you will. It's an easy way to get to the properties of the document. So this is kind of the beginning of the process. Notice I've got a status field I added. I've got a default status called working, and then a default category called all. So you can already see I've already got a little bit of metadata and properties that I'm going to be using to help manage, search, organize the documents, etc. So let's go ahead and click on this funny green button that you don't normally have, and let's see what that does for us. Here, I'll do the Word document right there. All right, so this took me into a form. In SharePoint, they don't give you any kind of custom form building tool. You could, of course, use some external platform like Power Apps or something like that, but it's not something that's readily accessible. I'm going to show you about how this works, but this is a key part of the function and tools that I'm going to show you today. I have a custom form that I've laid out to have these extra properties and functionality. By default, I have the owner set up to be the person who created the document, but I can change that very easily. The concept here is this is the person taking responsibility for the document. So it may not necessarily be the person who first uploaded it, created it. I added some statuses. So by default, we're just going to say these are in a working status until somebody designates otherwise. But this would be a way to indicate whether this is something that someone's working on, or it needs to get approved, or it's been released, that type of thing. Or maybe it's some old version of a document and you want to kind of put it in an archive or something like that. So that's what status is for. And then I can categorize my document, and you'll see how that comes into play later. By default, I just have category all, meaning it just kind of applies to everything. But then I've also got other departments and stuff like that. So I'll change that to IT. And then I added my own custom field. This is a choice field with a multi-select, so you can tag your document. This is another way to kind of facilitate better search abilities and some of the tools I'm going to show in a second. Naturally, you could put in anything you want for any of these. These are all just things that I came up with for status, category, tags. You could easily configure these to look however you want. Also notice the color coding on this, these visual indicators. These are important. So I have different colors to help guide users and to see in a very distinctive way differences between these different statuses and categories, etc. I've also got a field in here. So it's notify. Concept behind this would be people who want to get email updates whenever there's an update on this. For example, when there's a status change, or if the owner wants to send a notification. So this is, this can have as many people as I want. If I want to get updates on a document, like I said, it's self-service. I could just come in here and stick my name on this list, and then that way I know I could get an update if the owner of the document wants to tell people they've revised that. So got that. Send update, I'll show you that in a minute, and then ask a question. Maybe I want to ask a question to the owner about this. When is it going to get updated? Anything I want to. It's all facilitated through the form. And this is all about creating some collaboration and automation directly from the context of the document instead of kind of working outside the system. So I'll go ahead and save that. So you notice there's color coding on the status. So it's really obvious when you have a difference between status and you see that the category changed, that type of thing. Now this view I created, it's called doc load, and it's filtered. It's set up to show just the documents created by me and was created today. So this is kind of like a nice, clean, simple screen to drop a user into to batch flood their documents and not have to see anything else. So that's upload. And we put somebody in for notify people, and we've got the send update function. So I'm just going to show you what happens when you check those buttons in there. So if I go to do that, it's going to trigger an email. So as an example, I'll just do that. I'll say, I'm the owner. If I'm Vladi and be like, just put in latest release notes. Okay, I just click send update. And what that'll do is just automatically send an email to the people on the notify list, and they'll have that come out. Or alternatively, I can come in here and I can ask a question. Maybe I'm wanting to ask that owner a question. So I can say, can can you tell me about instructions on page 2? Again, it'll just trigger an email automatically to the owner. Another thing we've got in here is we've got status history. Maybe we want to know more than just the current status. Maybe like to know when it was changed, who made that update, that kind of thing. So we kind of want to have some tracking on this. If you look in here on status history, this shows that it was updated or released, as well as the notes. So that's kind of happening automatically. We have a listener kind of checking for those status changes. So let me show you kind of examples of what the emails look like. Okay, so this would be for the update. So this is if I go in and for this document, and I just want to basically let the people know on the notify list that I put an update out. I can go ahead and trigger that. I can type a message in there, and it's all done through the form. So that'd be an example of what that looks like. And then at the bottom of that, there's a link to that. The other example was, I'm asking a question. Here's the when are we getting the next update? If I just click the button. So everything's done through centralized interface. I don't have to go anywhere to do anything anywhere else. All right, so let's go back to the dashboard a second. A big part of this thing, probably one of the most important things, is being able to find documents easily, that type of thing. So you see I've got a whole bunch of buttons on here, and we've got a whole bunch of different views. So, for all the categories, we have those tagged. I don't want to just see the whole slew of documents all together. So I do have the all category, but if I want to go to accounting, I can come in here and you can see those are just the documents tagged accounting. And you see that nice little icon at the beginning. Again, I just kind of have some nice visuals here to make it really obvious as you're browsing through the list. Here's all the engineering documents. This is what I mean. I really would never have to train or explain this to anybody. It's just immediate and obvious. I just click on the button and boom, there's all the IT documents. It's just instantly recognizable and understandable for any user. Likewise, on status, maybe I want to check for documents that are in that approval status. If I click on that, those are all filtered down and I can just go in and check just for the approval status. So those are kind of the obvious and easy buckets to go to. And we've got buttons to just click to and go to that fast. Or if I want to look at things that have just been updated recently, maybe in the last day or week or month, under the featured links, we have some calendar views for that. So again, nothing super magical here. These are just SharePoint views, but it's a nice way to help the user narrow down and just find documents by a particular date range or category, that type of thing. We're just facilitating that to make it easier. I naturally can go to the column headers, I can apply filters, but now you are getting into a training issue. They've got to understand how that works. Some of those features and functions are a bit hidden, and for some users, they may not be real comfortable, whereas these button clicks are just as simple as can get. I just make one click and it takes me where I want to go. So here we go. This is everything that's been modified in the last 30 days. So we've got views for all that. Then I like to see things like my documents, but I want to just see the ones where I'm the owner. So this is one where owner equals me. So that's always a good view. So regardless of who it is, it'll show just the documents where it's only them. Okay, so let's go next into search capabilities. Now, of course, in SharePoint at the top, you do have search this site. And that can be handy, but there's something I don't like about that. What I don't like is that it's a bit too generic. It's a bit too wide open, not quite so targeted. I'm going to show you a tool, which is part of the Ultimate Forms tool, which gives you more options as it relates to updates. So, this will do a search just based on information in the fields. You can always do that. That's just your first simple option. It'll search based on content in any of these. But what's really nice about this is I can go to an advanced mode. If I want to do something more sophisticated, it's going to be easy for me to do that. So I could do like a compound search. I could get really sophisticated if I want to be really targeted about what I'm doing. So I could say where created is, greater than 11/1/2020. And then I just hit this little plus sign, and I could say, and where category equals IT, let's just say that. And I can do a search. So you have a nice, clean, advanced search tool. So as I'm expecting many of you experience, when you start getting into thousands of documents and things like that, it's really going to make it so that if you're really struggling to find something, you have to get a bit more advanced trying to locate something. That advanced search mode is going to be really handy. Another way to go about searching for things that I like is through simple filter dropdowns. So we know kind of some of our key differentiators are category and status and tags in the system. And like I say, we've always got column headers and things we can drill down into. But as I say, sometimes it's a bit buried, maybe not so intuitive. It's a bit more clicks, a bit beyond what some people are comfortable with. In contrast, what I'm showing you here, it's already kind of serving it up for them, making it really simple. Like, all right, I just want to do the IT ones. Boom, there it is. I made one click. I just hit the drop down and selected IT. I didn't have to do apply. I didn't have to drop through 3 or 4 or 7 different menus to get there. And then I can do, like the advanced search, I can do compound. So I can say, well, I want category ID, IT, and I'm just looking for those draft ones. Now we've got a compound search. It's applying multiple conditions at once. And I just have a clear button, boom, reset. So maybe I could do IT, and then we have those tags. So I say IT learning. See if it finds it. Okay, so those are all tagged for learning. So the filter search provides yet another way for the users to find what they want. Now this can create some overhead, right? I've added all this metadata and all that's really nice, but we've made it really easy for users to find things based on what's in there, but management's a big part of this as well. So for those users responsible for a lot of these documents, or for having to upload a lot of documents, we really want to make it as easy as we can for them to do that. And one thing that we want is to do batch updates. And we do have something in Ultimate Forms called Actions, and it'll let you do those kind of batch updates. So if I want to work across multiple documents, let's just say I have a whole batch of documents. I can multi-select, check all those, and I could go ahead and just release these. And the way I can do that, we have this Ultimate Forms action. I've defined an action myself to do that. So I have these different statuses. I just click the button and I want to release them. So I just click status released. And with that batch selected, it'll just apply that across all of them. That's going to make it easy for me because I don't want to have to go into each one of those individual items. Maybe I need to update 100 or 200 or 300 different documents to get them in the right department or something like that. So the cool thing, like I say, is I create these buttons myself. I can make these buttons to do any type of an action we want. I've got another one to make me the owner. So I can click on that and that'll make me the owner. And so if I refresh that page, you'll find that all those have been released. You'll see those all change to green. So that's what those batch updates will do for you. Okay, so those are batch actions. One thing I should comment on real quick is these 2 columns. This uses something that's actually a part of the Microsoft API for SharePoint and modern list views. It is column formatting. And I will post after our presentation today with a template and in a blog on our site the code for those. But in general terms, what you do is you go to format this column. And luckily for you, you don't have to fiddle around with any of the code or anything. You literally can just paste in the code to this and it renders out according to that. And that's how we set up that box to be a particular size and to use that thumbnail and that type of thing. And that's only for 2 columns. You don't have to do anything special. I just made 2 fields called thumb and update. Same thing here to make that little button. I did this. So I promised you guys wouldn't have to do any coding, and I stick to my word. You only have to copy and paste this in. It's like the format column, and it will make this appear, and it will work immediately. So nice and easy to work with. Let's kind of go behind the curtains, if you will. I want to talk to you about, how do I set these things up? How did I make all this work? Once you have our app installed for SharePoint Online, it opens up the toolbox. Remember the picture I showed you of the Swiss Army knife? Here you go. This is it. This is our big toolbox with all of our many options. And I just want to emphasize the ones that are in the solution and how we work with this. The first thing I want to talk about is the form design and setup. So here's my form. In terms of how you build this, it's an easy to use drag and drop style interface. You can control the look and feel and make it look however you want. Maybe you don't like that light blue. If I want to change to light green instead, I can just change it with that color picker and hit OK and save, and you can see it'll just update immediately in real time. So very simple to work with. I can just drag fields out into the interface. I can reorder them. I can do things like make a container, and I can do multi-column layouts. Whoops, I put it in the wrong spot. Here, let's put it down here, and I can say that container has 2 columns, and I can drag fields into it. Like I say, I'm not having to do any CSS. I'm not having to do any coding, no special programming, none of that kind of thing. I can completely configure this form to work however I want. I can even control what's on the buttons, what's shown in the interface, anything I want. It goes beyond the scope of what I can describe right now, but the form designer is incredible. It is probably my favorite aspect of the entire tool set. I really would not want to do custom forms in SharePoint any other way. It's that good. That's how you do the form setup. Naturally, I had some email alerts in here. We have a comprehensive email alert interface. Really simple to work with. I just come in here. I made a few different types of emails. Remember, we have when there's a question or an update that comes out. I just define who the recipients are. I pick the fields. Recall that I had a field for owner, and I want to copy the person modified. I create a rule. In this case, I just say when send question after change is yes, then go ahead and send that out. And I just define the content of my email. So if I go in here, I can make these look however I want. I can make them bold. I can apply special formatting colors, make it whatever font size. Really easy to set this up. So it doesn't have to be just kind of this boring email notifications. You can make them look nice and polished, however you want. Very, very easy to work with. Another part is the automation. Remember, I had all those buttons in the interface, so you could do those batch updates, that type of thing. I want to have different things I can do. I don't want to have to go into Power Automate. I don't want to go off into some other tool to define different things that are going to happen. Just directly here in SharePoint, I can define that. So you see a listing for each button I set up. Incredibly simple in terms of how it works. So just as an example, for status release, you'll see that I just have a few things I had to put in for that. All I had to do is say that this is going to be manual execute. I picked what shows up on the button, the little blue arrow. And then when they click on that, it just means that it will set the status to release. That is the entire configuration that I had to do. Every single one of these line items is just like that. And then, I have other kinds of things as well. Remember when it was very first created, I wanted to default the owner to the person who's logged in. So on new, said when items added, go ahead and set owner to whoever, added that document to SharePoint. So those are just right there baked in, easy to set up. Just a great way to build automation into SharePoint. So that's actions, covered form designer, email alerts, those color choice fields. You might be wondering how I did that. That's one of the easiest things to set up in our interface. You just take your choice field and you can toggle on the show as button, show as icon, it says. And we have a whole bunch of options in the interface. In fact, there's 250 icons here. And you can just pick one that makes sense. I just did it based on the letters. So I did an A for accounting, a C for corp, but you could have the icon be whatever you want for any of those. Or alternatively, if you want to do a background color, that's what I did for status. A nice way to improve the user interface. All right, so I do want to pause for a second. I promised that we would do a drawing for sure, and let's go ahead and do that. I do have a couple more pieces of information to give you, but let's go ahead and do our drawing, and then I'll talk to you a bit about how you can try out these tools and download this document management template so you can play around with it for yourself. So using the questions interface, I'm going to give you guys about 15 seconds. I'm looking for number 1 to 100. I'm looking for people only living in the United States. I'm going to pick a winner, and then I'll ask you to send me an email, and I'll mail out a shirt for you today. All right, we're going to give about 10 more seconds. Looking for closest to my number, 1 to 100. And we're done. Okay, our winner is John Hughes. John, if you will, for me, please send me an email to willc@infowisesolutions.com. I need your shirt size and I need your address, and we'll get that to you today. So let's talk about next steps. As I mentioned, these tools are awesome to work with. I think you'll love it. What's cool is you can download this and use everything that I showed you for free today. And it's not that hard to set up. If you go to our website and click on the green Quick Start button in the Infowise site, kind of walks you through the steps. We've got all kinds of resources here, but the most important thing you could do after our meeting today would be to install that trial so you can try it out for yourself. And so you just go to installation, click download. If you're SharePoint Online, you just click that green button. It'll walk you through the steps. We even have a how-to video which shows you what to do. If you have any technical problems with the installation, just shoot us a note. We're happy to help out. Another thing you can do, if you got lots and lots of questions and you just really want to talk to somebody, that's great. We're happy to talk to you. On the homepage, click Request a Demo. Just put your name in there and your company and some notes, click Send. What we're going to do is follow up, set up a web meeting. We'll talk with you one-on-one. We'll talk about what you need and answer your questions so you can get a better idea if it's going to help solve what you want to do. We do provide all kinds of information to learn how to use these tools in our resources. If you click on tutorials, once you've got the software in, you can try any of the practice in the Getting Started section. Another thing we offer is training content. You can actually do formal training. We have a video called Kickstart Training that'll walk you through how to make a help desk system. If you want a one-on-one instructor-led training, you could sign up for foundation training and that type of thing. At this point, I'm going to kind of go to the questions. I'm going to try to see what hasn't been answered. Again, I appreciate you guys' patience on that. Again, I want to reiterate, once you have the trial installed, what you will be able to do if you go into the setting screens that I was just showing, you will be able to deploy this to your environment in a practice site. So I'll show you where that's located so you can look for it later. So if you're going to go to our main settings screen, click Install Business Solutions. Once you're in there, just click on Webinars. You can see examples of a whole bunch of other templates we did too. You're welcome to download and try those as well. By end of day, you're going to have one in here for this document management system, which you can download and use everything that I showed you today. So that's how you get to that. Let me go to your questions, and thanks for your patience on that. Somebody's asking about the Rollup. We do have something I wasn't able to get to just based on time, which is basically a consolidated Rollup and search across multiple document libraries. It is covered in our website, and we have some instructions on how to use that. But just to show you what that is, where it is, how it works. If you go into our design screen, if you click on Rollups, you can you can define your documents rollup there. And again, it basically allows you to consolidate. If you recall, I had that filter view, and in my case, I had it just going to this one library, but you can set it up to search across multiple libraries. So we do provide instructions, but essentially it lets you have this screen. But instead of showing results just for one document library, you can have it do search and do the same configuration that you see on the screen, and it will consolidate and show you results for more than one document library at a time. In fact, it can be document libraries anywhere within the same site collection. I am going to be providing a recording of this. So I did record this presentation today. Somebody had asked if that would be available. We will post it on YouTube. It will also be available on our website. You'll be able to find that in the webinar section. In fact, we have recordings from all our previous webinars, but you will be able to access the recording in that, and that will be available later today if you want to review any of this presentation. Okay, let me just dig through some of the other questions. We had lots of good feedback. Thank you guys for that. Somebody asked if we're certified for government cloud. Absolutely, yes, we are. Brad, I'm in fact working with a customer in a GCC high secure environment right now. We have full capability and support for that. So absolutely that will work. Let's see. And if for some reason I miss you, and if I do, I apologize, just shoot me an email and I'll help you out. Once again, that's WILLC, WILLC at infowisesolutions.com. And I promise we do want to answer your questions. Sometimes they can get lost in the shuffle. I am going to stop the recording of the meeting, but we'll stay on the session just to answer questions. So stick around if you're waiting for that answer, but we'll end the presentation now. And thanks everybody for coming.